Hello guys, so today we're top 5 movies that I thought I would hate. So yep, these are 5 movies, and nope, Alita is not one of them. Okay, I decided to use this, put around a movie that I could think of, and of course, because I'm using Google Images, yep, I don't have to worry about, other stuff showing up, if you know what I mean. But yep, we'll be going over movies that I thought I would hate, but I actually like. So half of this list will be movies that, of course, the stupid critics said were so horrible. That their movies are so horrible, but they actually weren't. Surprise, surprise. Especially IMDb said, oh, they're so bad, okay? And also the other movies that I hated was because of my mind, how my mind used to be. It was a not very good state. Okay, I hated stuff for hating stuff, okay? I hated stuff because it was popular, okay? And yep, we'll be going over 5 movies that I thought I would hate. Okay, I think I should extend this to a top 10. Yeah, I'm extending this to the top 10. For scratch 5, 10. Number 1, Angry Birds movie. When I first heard there was an Angry Birds movie being made, I was really laughing, like, really? They're making a movie about Angry Birds? What could the plot possibly be about? It's just, you just throw birds at things, okay? But the Angry Birds movie was and actually I've not seen the second movie. I'll probably see the second movie soon, probably at Black Friday. But the movie was actually a joyful and funny movie. That's what I thought the movie was. The movie was very funny. The story was actually pretty decent for modern animation, that is, okay? Modern animation, the jokes are actually pretty good. Unlike most animated movies where they just, have the same, 18 jokes that aren't, okay, same 2 jokes that are not funny. And it's after, like, the success of Minions that it started using the same old boring jokes, okay? The animated movie started getting stale after Minions. But yep, the Angry Birds movie was really funny. It had really good characters. And yep, it had a pretty good story. So yep, Angry Birds movie. It's one of the few actually good video game movies, but of course that list is expanding day by day. It seems that companies are finally starting to realize that video game movies can be made into a story. The most recent example of that was Sonic the Hedgehog, a movie that's actually one of the best video game movies ever made, including movies that have video games based around their plots. Number 2, Star Wars. No, not The Last Jedi. Not that one, okay? I'm talking about Star Wars, okay? I before I saw the Star Wars movies, probably since I was a kid, but I don't remember much. No, I'm not talking about, Jar Jar, Abrams and Ruin Johnson's Star Wars. I'm talking about more particularly the prequels, or the Star Wars in general. For some reason, I had something against Star Wars. Basically because someone was telling me how bad Star Wars was. So, of course, I believed them. Instead of actually, watching them. Okay, let's believe just one person. Instead of actually watching them myself. So, yep, this is the Star Wars. And no, I'm not talking about The Last Jedi. That movie still sucks. The Last Jedi is still a pile of garbage. And I'm excluding The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker and Solo Star Wars stories. The movie that actually made Star Wars bad. Okay? Those movies will be excluded. Okay? But you have all the actual good ones. The original movies, episodes 1 through 3, Rogue One. And yep, this is one of the movies that, someone told me it was bad, so of course I believed them instead of actually watching it. They were worried about The Last Jedi, though. The Last Jedi is a pile of garbage. So it's not even be called a Star Wars movie. It's be called a knockoff of Star Wars movie. It's be called a boring movie, okay? That's what Star Wars The Last Jedi should be renamed to. Star Wars The Last Bore. Because that makes the movie fall asleep. But yep, Star Wars has a pretty great story, except for The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker and Solo. The storylines are great, the characters are great, and yeah, the fight scenes are pretty great, except for The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, and Solo, a Star Wars story. And basically anything that Kathleen Kennedy's, grubby hands had over Star Wars. Okay, so yep, number 2 is Star Wars, except for The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, and Solo, because those movies are garbage. Number 3, Ready Player One. Oh yeah, award. Ready Player One was a movie that I was like, when it came out, I was like, really? They're making a movie towards 90s kids? I was like, really? We're steeping that low. When I first started the show, I was like, really? A movie for 90s kids? And of course, I don't have a good opinion on 90s kids, okay? I do not, okay? I said, oh, this is just, trying to get into, it's kind of like, Game Freak pandering towards Gen 1. They're just making a movie to pander towards 90s and 80s kids. That's all they're trying to do, okay? All they're trying to do is reference, say, oh my god, look at this reference from 90s and 80s. But nope, it's not, actually a lot of the references were from popular movies, not some obscure reference. And of course, there were stuff I didn't, references I didn't understand, but of course, there were lots of references from, Overwatch was in this movie. Now, Team Fortress 2. And the only thing that was missing from this movie was, of course, Waluigi. They made a movie about pop culture, but they left out one of the most greatest fictional characters, Waluigi. I understand why, Marvel was left out, because that's owned by Disney, and they can't put Disney in this movie, and of course, they can't put, like, the Terminator, in this movie, because Terminator is owned by, I think it's owned by Paramount. And you can't put, like, the Hunger Games, because that's owned by Lionsgate. And they can't put, like, Shrek, or Big Sungus, which is they make a part 2. They could put Big Sungus. This movie was made before Big Sungus, and this movie didn't predict Big Sungus, but again, Big Sungus is very unpredictable. He is so unseen that he cannot be seen. But Ready Player One actually had a pretty good story. It actually had a bunch of cool references. Because again, before I seen the movie, I was like, well, yeah, I was a part of this quote unquote backlash. Complaining, oh, it's pandering to 90s kids. But the movie isn't really. It's a movie about a kid who goes into. It's not like sort of online. Okay, well, people are trapped in the game for the rest of their lives until they complete the game. Basically, this guy wants to save games from basically Comcast, cost of EA. Basically, Iowa 101 IOI is basically EA and Comcast combined. They're basically the same company at this point. And this movie takes place in 2040. The only sad thing is they didn't predict Moto and Big Sungus. That's the only sad thing. And they also didn't predict Ride Putin. But again, they don't need every single meme in the entire world. Or else would have a bunch of avatars of Ride Putin, Moto, and of course, Big Sungus. So, of course, this movie is a great movie. Number 4, Aquaman. This is where I hate everything's fault, but yep, Aquaman, the movie. Yep. I was like, oh, we're making a movie about Aquaman, one of the most hated superheroes. This can't go well. But then when I saw the box, I was like, oh, people actually like this movie. And no, I'm not talking about this disgrace of Aquaman. Because really, when most people think of Aquaman before this movie came out, what do they think about Aquaman? The first thing they think about is that crappy GameCube game and Super Friends. And that's why everybody hated Aquaman before this movie. It's because of Super Friends and Aquaman Battle for Atlantis. And Justice League, it's Justice League. You either like Justice League or you hate it. Justice League was okay. Okay, but again, Aquaman had some pretty beautiful cinematography in the movie. That's what it said. It had a pretty good story. It's definitely much better than most superhero movies that have came out around the same time. But again, a lot of superhero movies in 2019 to 2018 and 2020 were actually pretty good. Okay, yeah, those 3 years. And 2013 as well. Definitely much better than, 2000, which had like only one, and it was X-Men. And X-Men is okay. But it was good for 2000 standards, but it's okay now. Okay, but yep, Aquaman, it was a pretty good movie. And again, I thought, it's Super Friends. Aquaman's gonna be like Super Friends. It's gonna be boring, okay? But again, it was a pretty fun. It was a pretty entertaining movie. It's Aquaman. It's way better. This is what Aquaman should have been in Super Friends, okay? Aquaman should have been epic. He should have been cool, not boring, okay? Even I Hate Everything didn't hate this movie. That's how great this movie was. Even I Hate Everything doesn't hate this movie, and he hates Aquaman, okay? And yep, that's Aquaman. Number 5. Number 5. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Yep, this is another movie that I did not like because, of course, if you remember my old reviews, I basically reviewed stuff without seeing it or without knowing anything about it. And Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle was one of the many victims of my really awful troll reviews that I used to post on YouTube and on other sites. So, yep. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. I was like, oh, it sounds dumb, okay? No one's gonna watch it, okay? That's what I basically thought it was, okay? Basically, anything that was not of the same 5 series, I basically gave bad reviews to, okay? And yep, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle is not a bad movie. At any standards, it's really funny, it's really entertaining, and it has a really good cast of characters. And again, this is me being, this was me, of course, complaining about stuff without even actually watching it. I think the Monday was the first wake up call. Hey, maybe I shouldn't be a big troll who goes and lies on the internet and makes bad reviews that just nobody wants to watch anymore. I think I kind of learned after watching this movie, like, hey, this movie isn't that bad. Everybody else watched it, so I guess I have to watch it. And yep, the next movie on the list is number 6. So this movie I don't actually own, but I saw this once. And I thought this movie was actually pretty decent. Zeus Storm. Okay? It was one of the biggest box office flops and failures in history. And that is due to, of course, these stupid critics, of course, saying everything that isn't, book smart or Us was movies that they called masterpieces. Zeus Storm was an okay movie. It wasn't amazing, okay? It was a pretty cool movie, but again, control the weather. Basically, it's about these people who found a way to control the weather, and basically, if they'll cause a storm that will destroy the entire planet. And it was a pretty interesting, thing. It was ridiculous, but it was pretty funny. And yeah, that's basically it about Zeus Storm. And yeah, I thought I would hate this movie, but it was actually pretty entertaining as well. The characters are kind of forgettable, and that's this movie's big flaw. Is that the characters are kind of forgettable, but again, it's kind of like Godzilla. Okay, you watch this movie for buildings and stuff being destroyed. Okay, you watch this movie for stuff like this, not people talking. Okay, that's why people watch Godzilla, for Godzilla and King Kong, and the monsters fighting. That's the best part is Godzilla. Okay, and yep. This movie is okay. It's not the worst. And critics are acting like this is the worst movie on the face of the planet. No, it isn't. And now, number 7. Number 7, London Has Fallen. Yep. This is a movie that critics hated. Okay? Do not know why they hated this movie specifically. But yep, this movie was a pretty successful movie worldwide. But again, the critics hated this movie for some stupid reason. It's basically about this, group that wants to ruin the world, so they basically kill most of the, leaders, the fictional world leaders in this movie, and they almost get away, but they didn't kill the American leader, and they never do, because Gerald Butler's character basically pulls it through the whole movie, and basically he saves them. And of course, the critics, for some reason, hated this movie. Do not know why. They hated the second movie, Angel Has Fallen, but after that, this one, I was like, really? This movie is that bad? This movie is that horrible, okay? London Has Fallen was that bad, okay? And yeah, this is just another movie that I thought I wouldn't like because, of course, the stupid critics, of course, said, hey, this movie's so garbage. No, it isn't. Okay, it's not that bad, okay? And again, this is the critics, of course. And, of course, people say, oh, but, why people were angry when I made those troll reviews part about movies that people liked. But again, these are critics that are crapping on movies that I thought were actually pretty decent. Number 8. Suspect Zero. Yes, this movie. This movie was actually pretty okay. It was not the worst movie ever made. Like, the critics, of course, make it out to be. It's basically a crime thriller. Your standard crime thriller. That's what I thought it was. Okay? And it's based off the short story Suspect Zero, I think. And yeah, the critics like, hey, the worst movie of the year. The story's so bad. But yeah, the twist was actually, pretty okay. There's definitely much better movie twists in movies. But again, this movie is based off a short story. It's also based off, I think the story is based off real events. Okay. And yeah, the Suspect Zero is not that bad of a movie. It is not that bad of a film either, okay? I'll give it a 7 out of 10. There's still stuff, which means there's still a lot of things that could be improved, but there isn't some horrible scenes in this movie. It's still bad, and it's definitely much better than most of the woke crap that the critics, try to promote today, like Booksmart and Captain Marvel. So, number 9. Is it number 9? Oh yeah, number 9. Number 9, Madagascar 2. Before I saw, before the whole memes of this movie came around, I thought Madagascar 2, like the third. I thought the third one was the best in the series. Okay, this is a movie I never really hated, but I always forgotten about. Basically, the first one I always got weirded out by the meat scenes, but now I think those scenes are funny. But yeah, when I was a kid, I got creeped out by when he was dreaming of the meat. But now I think it's funny that he was dreaming of the characters we meet. But Madagascar 2, I always forgot about this one, kind of like how Toy Story 2. I always forgot about Toy Story 2, but it was until, of course, Moto showed up, of course. The greatest, the only greatest and, most memorable fictional characters. Even though Moto only appeared in 3 minutes of screen time, the fact that he has made himself into a meme icon is so understatement. Okay, and yeah, Madagascar 2 is now my favorite trilogy because of this one character. There's one character changed my whole perception of a movie. And now Madagascar 2 is actually pretty funny. There's a lot of character development in this movie. A lot of development for the characters as well. It's not just Moto. It has a lot of development. You meet Alex's family, which are pretty good characters. I also like the fight where he chooses Tsitsi, and Tsitsi, defeats, Alex, like, very easily. And yeah, really that evil. And at the end, I like how the scene where the evil lion gets his just desserts at the very end of the movie. It's a very good movie and satisfied movie. And of course, Moto. Bring Moto back in Madagascar 5. He was the best character in that whole movie because of his chunkiness. Number 10. Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. I think most people, when they saw the movie, are like, that's just another kid's movie. That's basically, I think, 90% of people, when they saw the trailer for Spider-Man and Spider-Verse. And when it came, I was like, really? This movie got an 8.4? I was like, don't know why this movie is so popular. And then I actually saw the movie. So it was actually 6-7 months ago. But yeah, I saw this movie, and it was actually pretty good. Yes. I think most people who saw this movie were surprised at how good this movie is. Okay, a similar case can be made for Alita Battle Angel, which really came out a few months after this movie. But again, this movie, how Spider-Man and Spider-Verse, I was like, the critics just making this stuff up. Okay, they were like, is this, it's my, of course, they're gonna say this movie's great, okay, because it's animated, because they want to put out movies for art. I was like, this movie, really best, but again, it was either this movie, or The Incredibles, and I was happy that it wasn't The Incredibles that one, because The Incredibles is very, very overrated. And I always think that, and I always say that movie is overrated. Okay, The Incredibles, and 1 and 2, both of them. Okay, but Spider-Man and Spider-Verse is, I think, better than Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home was pretty funny. It had a lot of good moments, but of course, I was expecting to like this movie. I was expecting this to be just an average movie, okay? I was really expecting Spider-Man and Spider-Verse just to be an average movie, like, okay, watch this once, then we'll watch it again, kind of like that. And yeah, I'll probably watch this again. I have a ton of movies that I still have to go through, and yep, this movie will probably be way down the line as well. I still have like 30 to 40 movies I'm probably going to watch over the next few months. We watch them again, because I have nothing else to do anyways, because of this whole virus stuff. And yep, Spider-Man Spider-Verse was and of course, there's no new movies coming out. So of course, what I do is watch old movies that I like. Yep, this movie was surprisingly funny, and of course entertained. But again, it's a superhero movie. You expect to be entertained. It had very great characters and villains. It had very great storyline. And yep, so some honorable mentions in Alita Battle Angel. When I first, heard of it, I was like, what is this movie? Okay, Alita Battle Angel. Okay, now it's one of my favorite movies. Okay, but again, I was actually excited to see that movie. So more and more I heard about it, the more and more I wanted to see it. So that movie was not put on this list. Also been put at number 11, because I first thought, like, it's gonna flop. It's an anime movie. It's gonna be like Dragon Ball Evolution all over again. Okay, But now we went to, James Cameron make it, and it changed my mind. Because James Cameron did make this masterpiece called Terminator 2 Judgment Day. He did make that masterpiece. Like, okay, I'll give it a chance. And then more and more I found about this movie. I wanted to see it more and more. So kind of like, but again, Alita was the opposite of Earthbound. I wanted to play Earthbound more and more, but I was very disappointed by Earthbound. But Alita Battle Angel was the opposite. I was very satisfied watching that movie. And then I watched that movie like 9 more times, basically, after the first day I watched it. But yep, Spider-Man Spider-Verse, very great movie. And there's probably some more honorable mentions, okay? Man in Black, I thought it was gonna be like, It was actually pretty great. Ghostbusters. I wanted to see it. Took me like 3 years to actually see it. I actually saw it. It was pretty amazing. Ghostbusters. Okay, and now I think it's a classic movie. I'll probably see it again. And of course, let's not forget the magnum opus, Kung Pao. Actually, I wanted to see it because looked funny and actually was funny. So, yep. That's basically it. Goodbye.